Jenae, how you doing today?
Hey, HBCU Pulse family. I'm doing well, doing well.
Hey, it looks like you back on campus.
Yeah, you see, I'm in my humble little bow. I got my gear on. So I'm definitely glad to be back in the land of golden sunshine.
Yes, we love Tennessee State. We need for everybody from Tennessee State to show love in the comments. Let's get it like last week. So let's hop into it. So Grownish was a different type of episode this week, but let's start with this. So Janae and I did some digging for this edition of the Grownish After Party. And we found some very interesting things, and we want to break it down for you because while Grownish today, they had a really great episode today, and we're going to talk about it. I just want to just signal some issues that I'm seeing, okay? So Grownish has seen a sharp decline in ratings since its premiere in January of 2018. And I'm gonna put on my account executive hat because I'm an account executive for iHeart. I'm gonna put that on. We have the steady stats, and if you are a mass comm major and you're in behavioral stats and you're in mass media stats, I need y'all to keep up, okay? So season one of Grownish had 622,000 viewers on average for that first season, and they started off high with those first two episodes that played on the same day. You had late registration, 950,000 viewers. You had, and I'm not going to say the first part of the episode, but don't care my vibe. That
Yeah.
had 920,000 views. So, that was the first two episodes of the season. Starboy had a huge rating showing as well, and that was the introduction of Cash into the series. But here's the thing: the season finale, they were like, "Oh, who will Zoe choose? Will she choose Cash? Will she choose Luca? Will she choose Aaron?" Find out next week. We didn't want to find out because it dropped to 395,000 views. we didn't really want to find out. So season two is like, okay, you know what? Season one, people want to see what was up. Season one, let's see what's happening in season two. So season two saw a precipitous drop in total viewership. So 474,000 viewers on average for the season. The highest rated episodes, episode one, 672,000 views, which is better. And then the second episode premiered on the same day, which is Nothing Was the Same. It dropped same day, like 30 minutes, one episode, 30 minutes, next episode. It dropped to 556,000 views for that second episode, a 116,000 viewer drop. Okay, so we're seeing some trends here. So episode 4 of that series, In My Feelings, you guys remember that episode? It was about geniuses. They brought up Beyonce, they brought up Kanye West, they brought up what constituted a genius, and the promos were amazing for it. We saw them get 642,000 viewers after they hit some lows. Then season 2, episode 6, Love Galore, they got 603,000 views, but they bottomed out at 422,000 viewers, up from the first season, but 230,000 viewers in the hole. They dropped. Do y'all see a trend? Okay, so let's go to season 3. Season 3 is not over. They can switch it around. But I'm just saying, okay? Season 3, so far, from last year before the pandemic to now, 360,000 viewers on average for the season. Their highest rated episodes was 3. They peak episode 1. People want to see what's popping. It had 482,000 views. Season 3, episode 3, Close Friends, 456. Season 3, episode 9, Public Service Announcement, which was last week, 434. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? So they've lost 200,000 viewers on average after season 1 for live viewing. We cannot. I tried to find the Hulu viewing. I tried to find live plus same day, which is DVR. A lot of folks be busy. So you might watch on YouTube TV, DVR. Could not find those numbers. I'm going to try to find them. But I want you guys just to paint your own picture, okay? Blackish, it's a pandemic. Oh, it's a pandemic. No one's watching TV. NBA numbers going down. NFL numbers are going down. Blackish ratings have increased. They're at 2.5 million. I want you to just tell me what you think of this. I'm just bringing up the numbers. Shows that have had the same rating share, which is Grownish has a 15 rating share and the 18, the 49 demo. That's our demo. And they have 395,000, 300, around that 300,000 viewer number. And these are the shows on Freeform. I'm going to mention the shows. I want Jenae to let me know what happened to these shows, okay? So Stitchers, Shadowhunter, Kevin from Work, Cloak and Dagger, and Guilt. So, Jenae, what happened to those shows?
Oh, they're all canceled. They're no longer on air. So if Grownish keeps going the way they're going, this will be the last season, or maybe just season 4 be the last season, just based on the numbers. Because as a showrunner and all those things, you have to keep a consistent numberage and a consistent viewership. And if your viewership is going down by the tens of thousands at a time and has been decreasing for the past 2 to 3 years, these past couple seasons, you will not get more than one season. They may let you end because, it was a staple show at one point, but these shows are canceled now. So it's not looking very good for Grownish based on the numbers.
Like, I'm telling you, and see, Jenae said it, not me. Okay, I just want to let you know, because y'all probably gonna think I'm just hating and Randall just think XYZ. I'm just going by the numbers because I want to see Grownish win. It's the only college show that is on TV. But if they continue this trend of episodes we saw last week, we might see Grownish end, and we might have no college shows, and we might hope that maybe on All American Buddy go to college, or maybe go to HBCU. We don't know. But but listen, we're just gonna segue by doing this.
Never been in the game, I'm celibate.
I think that's a great segue, Jenae. I think that's a great segue into what this episode was about. So let's talk about this episode, Hard Place. And this is a very double entendre title. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna bring it up. Hard Place, okay? So Jenae, tell us about what the episode was about.
Okay, y'all. So season 3, episode 10 on Hard Place talked about a lot of different issues. Fun fact in this episode, Zoe was not a part of it. Zoe was actually just narrated it. So I don't know if this made it a little bit better.
I saw it. Had for the clap margins. Go ahead.
Right. So pretty much, A Hard Place talks about Anna and Javier's relationship. It also goes into Aaron's new relationship with his girlfriend, and then the relationship between Sky, Jazz, and Jillian. So let's start first with Javier and Anna. So Javier and Anna just recently got to this new relationship, and they're all lovey-dovey, everything's going great. And Anna's has had a very rough time with love. Previously, she messed with Aaron, she messed with a couple other guys, and just hasn't had the best luck. And then now she meets this great guy who's Cuban, who's Republican, just like she is, who has those same core value beliefs, and they're both into politics. So they have a lot of things in common. So and everything's going good. So it's like, what can go wrong? Well, we later find out that Javier is celibate, and Anna has a real kind of hard time with it because if that's not something she's used to. Also, previously, she's messed with guys who's only wanted her for her body, yet she meets a guy that doesn't care to even have sex, and she's in her feelings and upset, which talks about the different dynamics of celibacy relationships, especially celibacy between men and female. Like, it's kind of more, I guess, common, so to speak, which is terrible for a woman to be celibate unlike a man, and she's taking it differently. Moving forward in Act 2, we also talk about the Black Student Union, where they have a meeting and they pretty much talk about how the school is getting funded by the prison systems, and that the students' tuition are actually paying for those prison systems as well. Mind you, prison systems live off of Black bodies. So of course the BSU has a big issue with this, and they sign a petition to get that fixed. But Aaron just sees it as there's a bunch of fake woke people not talking about nothing. They're just doing just a whole bunch of signing, but not a bunch of action. So he goes and takes action and gets a flyer going. And then once the flyer gets posted around the school, these 2 police officers come and they say that, hold on, he's littering on campus. His posters are littering on campus. And he even gets arrested over some simple posters, but yet there's multicultural posters up and there's other posters up from different organizations, yet he's the one getting targeted. So luckily it doesn't escalate further than him just getting arrested, but we can foreshadow to see what else is going to happen with that. Also, we look into Jillian a little bit more, and Jillian talks about soul food and how it reminds her of home back in Atlanta because she went to Spelman, and that she misses home. She's kind of homesick. So Jazz and Sky take her to the soul food truck back where they're from, and then their dad comes and talk about how, well, them going to the Olympic trials is going to be good for South Central. And, when they go, South Central goes as well. So Jillian gets this great idea to come up with a documentary that follows the twins' journeys to going to the Olympic trials, which I think that's going to be a super amazing documentary. And I think and then towards the end of the episode, we find out that he gets his strength to be celibate from God. And then they go to this kind of, I wouldn't say new church, like a new church feel where the pastor is young. He has tattoos. He's wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And Anna came in this pink, stuffy church outfit. And she's like, is a pastor supposed to look like that? You know? And it kind of changed her view on religion, because even though she grew up Catholic, she hasn't been to church in a while. And being with him is actually giving her a relationship closer to God. So that's kind of what this episode talked about. A bunch of really just deep topics. You saw a lot of different perspectives, and it was honestly a really empowering episode.
Let's be honest. They went to children's church. they went to children's church, like because it was a part where they were like, DM the person next to you and say, God got you. I'm like, no, we don't go to church like that. No, we don't do that. But
Wow.
but let's just get into just talking about the aspects of the episode. So we were watching the episode, and I was expecting just to be disappointed. I was expecting to just go and turn on basketball. I'm just about to get ready for my Friday. You know, I'm just about to just get ready to work, do whatever I need to do. I'm about to get ready to go to bed. I'm like, man, let's just go and get this thing over with. And it starts with a great starting point where, you know, they about to get it cracking, they about to get it on. And it's like, he has a secret he has to tell. He hasn't told her yet. And he's celibate. And I'm like, whoa, that was a different dynamic. I honestly was not expecting that. So the first thing I thought, I started laughing, and they let it be crazy. I'm like, man, I think Javier's favorite book is Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. That's what I think. I think that's his favorite book. You know what I'm saying? Y'all saw that movie, The 90-Day Rule. I think that Javier like on the 90-Day Rule with Anna, but I don't think he's wrong, because Anna a live wire. Because when Anna found out that he was celibate, she was offended. She over there, oh, I feel so embarrassed. And I'm like, bruh, he's being open and honest with you. And he even said what I would have said when we came on, because I was like, when do you expect him to say it? Is he going to say it over Red Lobster? Oh, hey, man, the cheeseburger real good. By the way, I'm celibate. We ain't going to do nothing tonight. Like, what? When is he supposed to say, hey, I'm celibate? Like, it makes no sense. Like, so, Jenae, so let's say you meet a guy, right? And the guy is celibate. Are you going to be upset? Like, you embarrassed me. I thought we were going to do X, Y, Z. Or how would you react to that?
I wouldn't be embarrassed. I would say I'll be shocked, just because I don't know anybody my age that's a virgin at this point. You know, so I'll be like, oh, word, or, you know, so I definitely don't say I would have been shocked. I think I would be like, really? Like, what makes you want to do that? Because sex is a big part of relationships. People break up over sex. If you tell somebody you're not gonna have sex, marriages end over that type of stuff. So, and it's a real part of a relationship that we kind of don't talk about that much, because it just kind of comes with. So when it's not there, it's like, what? As a female, I don't think I'll be upset. I think I'll be shocked, but I don't know if I personally could deal with that. But I think if you love somebody enough, I think you'd be willing to somewhat sacrifice. And I wouldn't even say so much it's a sacrifice, because you can build intimacy in other ways. Because even throughout the episode, like, they were trying to be all apart, and then she was shaking his hand and saying, we can play Jenga. Jenga's not sexy. Like, you don't have to not have intimacy and still show affection without having sex, you know. So I don't know, personally, I could deal with that because I have needs. But I don't think it's bad to have somebody celibate. I honestly respect you more, because, you know, you're choosing to do something different, and, you know, it's obviously for a good reason.
And let's not say they, it's she, because he was cool with this kid still doing it, but Anna was the one that's acting weird. And I just want to say this: what do women want? Don't y'all want honesty? What do women want? I thought all these guys, all the Greeks, all these guys, these student leaders, they just want to sleep with us. But then Buddy's like, listen, I'm being celibate. I made a pact with God. Now I was like, man, this man a lame man. I don't want to deal with this man. I'm about to break up with. What you want from me? Like, what do you want from me? Right. Like, golly.
Listen, fellas, if you're a celibate, I promise it's completely okay. I will be shocked. I'll be like, you don't want to have sex, because it's usually with the thing, like, that's the first thing like males want from females, at least in my experience, and pretty much most women experiences. So we're honestly shocked when a man doesn't want sex with us. But I think it also shows that we kind of think, well, what does he want me for if he doesn't want to have sex? So I think there's a lot of internal issues that she's dealing with. And even as a person who, like, when you have like certain features, if you have bigger lips or if you're thicker, you get sexualized often. So you're kind of just used to getting that type of attention. So when somebody comes like, oh, well, I don't want that, you kind of think, well, like, who am I without that? Who am I if I'm not this girl with big lips, long hair, thick thighs, you know? So I think it was some internal things that she was dealing with, because she even said in the episode, well, do you not want me? Am I not attractive? Like, why don't you want to have sex with me? Like, she took it a whole different way instead of, this is the fact that I made with God. This has nothing to do with you. So I think it's kind of an internal type of psyche within women that where our bodies kind of sell us, unfortunately. So when that's removed, it's like, who are we? But I think hopefully in a relationship where there can be intimate in other ways, she can find out who she truly is outside of her body.
And I think that that's the problem, is that she doesn't know who she is. And she started sexualizing herself. And that was the problem. She started saying to herself, like, oh, you must not want this. And it's like, nah, like he just has self-discipline enough to be like, you know what? I made this pack. I'm not going to break it. And I think that what we saw, because like Jenae said, Zoe was not in this episode. We saw a trend of something. And I just want to just bring it up just gradually as we speak on the episode. And I'm going to get to the point. Zoe's very childish when it comes to men. Anna was very childish this time around. She was very much childish. And that's a Zoe trait. And also, can we show some respect to Aaron? Because Aaron wasn't, you know, the F-boy that people were trying to make him be. Because let's not forget that time when she got drunk at that party again, and he walked her home, tucked her in. All of a sudden, she was like, you know what, I'm going to break up with you. Like, why? Like, I just made sure you got home safe. Like, you crazy. Don't text me. No, I'm going to block you. It couldn't be me. I would have blocked her. Like, she would not have to worry about Randall. Like, because I done helped make sure you straight. I done tucked you in like you my daughter. Now read you a bedtime story. Like, what the world? Like, what do you want from me? Like, golly, what? Like this is the theme. Wait, what more do you want from me? Like, I'm feeling just Javier. I'm feeling Aaron's episode. Like, man, what do y'all want? So here's a question, and I wanted Jenae to look into this, right? So we know that Aaron has a new girlfriend, and Zoe was upset about the new girlfriend. But someone on YouTube, and I wish I had their name, but they brought this up on YouTube in the promo for the episode. So the girlfriend that Aaron has, is that the same girl that he was cheating on Anna with?
Okay,
you know,
so I looked back, and the girl, they look similar, but it didn't look like the same girl. So I don't think it is. I will look back just to like be for sure, because I looked back at the episode and she looked similar, but it didn't look like the same girl. So I don't think so, but I don't mind looking back again to verify, but I do not think so, no. Okay,
so let's basically open up, the line a little bit. We're going to, answer phone calls towards the end of the show. We stop doing just the recap aspect of it. Is that the same girl? And I know, the ladies, Tennessee State, y'all gonna get together. Y'all gonna look, because y'all be investigating anyway. So do this investigation. Text us. And I need y'all to text us at 478-221-7127. Is that the same girl that Aaron was creeping on Anna with? If it is, we need for Grownish to talk about that, because that's a storyline that I think they're missing. But we're not gonna say that today, because we got to give them their flowers, because they did a great job. But I noticed that we didn't see Zoe off rip. I'm like, we haven't seen Zoe yet, and I'm like, bro, I love it here. Like, literally, Zoe is like a plague on the show. And remember, I said this last week. I said that every episode that has less Zoe, or when Zoe's a minor character, is markedly better. The cultural appropriation episode, the episode with Aaron trying to get a job, he goes to Dre, her dad, try to get a job. Like, those episodes are significantly better, because Zoe brings down the show with her rampant selfishness, her airheadedness, and her one-track mind. I want to design. I want to be with guys. Like, it's one-track mind with her, and it's so much selfishness. We weren't plagued by that in her relationship issues. But as I was watching the episode, and I just kept hearing celibate. I was like, hey, Jenae, I'm going to get this clip when we do the thing. So that's when I got...
Never been in the game, I'm celibate.
That's when I got that clip. That is from I'm Illy. That's T.I.'s like that's probably T.I.'s best song. He was rapping in that song. And literally it's like, you know, that's a double entendre, whereas like he never been in the game, he's celibate. And it's like, I feel like that is a great drop for Javier because they kept bringing that up in that first act. You probably heard celibate like 50 million times in that first act alone because they were trying to hammer that point home. But they had Javier as a really strong character because they even had Sky and Jazz trying to say, hey, Tempton, like just go in there looking good. He gonna break down. But Anna was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do that. Like I respect, you know, his like what he's doing this for, and I'm gonna see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna see what happens. And I respected that from Anna, and I could tell that she was gonna go on a growth journey, and she was losing the Zoe aspect that they were giving her character because she was willing to accept it. Because there's a lot of things that Zoe didn't accept from Aaron, from Cash, and from Luca, and that's why she's single. Okay, so I like the fact that Anna was willing to accept the fact that he's celibate and work within it. But let's get to the part in the student union, okay? So the Black student union, so go over that part with the Black student union and Diggy and Trevor, or not Trevor, I'm sorry, Aaron, not Trevor. Right? I said Diggy. What Doug and Aaron? I said Diggy and Trevor. Doug and Aaron. Let's talk about what Doug and Aaron and that whole entire scene in the Black Student Union with Aaron's girlfriend.
Okay, so prior to them actually going to the meeting, Aaron and his girlfriend were hooking up in his room, and she was going to the BSU meeting, the Black Student Union meeting. And he was like, well, I'm not going to that. He used to be treasurer, but he's not part of the organization anymore because he feels like it's a bunch of fake woke people not doing no real work. And that's not what he's about. He's like the Malcolm X, like fight the power revolution type of guy. And they're just trying to figure out what potato salad they want at the next barbecue, so it's giving very much social vibes and not no work, So then his girlfriend was like, well, if you come with me, I'm going to give you some. So he's like, fine, hand me my Crocs, I'll go with you. So boom, we go to the BSU meeting. They mentioned the barbecue, which shows that Aaron was correct about what they are doing. But that's when they get to the point that Cal U, their school, is being funded from prisons, and these prisoners are also funding the security, and which is a problem because most people in prisons are Black people, Black and Latino. And then that same force, the police that are putting us in jail, which are also killing us. So it's a whole bunch of like oxymorons. Like, wait, so why is and they're funding them using student dollars. So it's like we're using our dollars to fund a system that doesn't care about us, right? So they're like, we gotta get a petition, we gotta get things started and everything. Now that was a pretty intellectual conversation within itself based on what the things I've talked about. Now, throughout the whole conversation, mind you, Doug is usually a pretty intellectual character because in previous episodes, when they mentioned, like in the workforce, how when it comes to job, Nomi would get it first, then it will be Anna, then it will be Doug and Aaron, Beck, and then the females. So he's very smart and very educated, and they kind of dumped him down and talked about potato salad the whole time, like, oh, I'm here for the potato salad. Oh, well, I'm here because all these culture got these food things, and I'm here. Wait, what about the potato salad? Like, he kept saying things that like dumbed him down a little bit, and that was a big problem for us because we saw that they're very intelligent. So why are you dumbing down these characters? And I think, as Randall said previously, is they're putting Zoe aspects in each character because Zoe's not in the episode, which actually sucks because why are you downplaying these smart characters? Because we've never seen this before. So that makes no sense because he schooled Vivek during the cultural appropriation episode, and Jazz schools Zoe about the job thing. So we had an issue with them pretty much dumbing down the characters because it was very unnecessary, because we saw in Blackies that you can still be smart and witty but intelligent. So you don't need to dumb down your characters. That's very unnecessary, and it perpetuates a stereotype that Black people are dumb, and this is a Black, not Black show, but like it's a college show with Black students and multicultural students. So that's some of the things that we saw within the BSU scene and some of the dynamics we saw among the characters.
And it is a Black show. Like all the leads are Black. This is a Black. They play hip hop music. This is a Black show. Because I think they lost that where it's like, oh no, this is a multicultural show. This is a Black show with white and Latino characters. Let's just be 100% honest first and foremost. But also, if you look at it, the reason why they did that with Doug and Anna, we're going to talk about Sky and Jazz later on, is they were trying to insert comedy in some way. And that's the problem that I consistently have with Grownish, is you do not have to force comedy down our throat. It's going to just happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to write no drunk, like a Lincoln Heights or the Quad. You don't got to write that, but you can write compelling content and find the jokes and hilarity in it. And it might be something that might not be funny to the older writers, but we're in college, we might get it. You know, so it's like I didn't like how they dumbed down Anna a bit. They made her very childish, but they sort of brought her back in that second scene. Then they did not give Doug that turnaround where it's like, hey, Doug is now witty. They didn't give him that. And I felt as though that was a disservice because Doug was one of my favorite characters. Now, granted, he stole the show in that scene because that was a great performance by Diggy. But at the same time, he's more nuanced than that. And Doug has shown he's more nuanced than that. But it really gave me Blackish vibes because you see a lot of great writing from Blackish where they're talking about current issues. And you see them double down with it. And personally with Blackish, and I'm going to say this has nothing to do with Grownish, but I didn't like the episode they did. I think it was away from the season premiere in November, but they did like an election themed 2-part episode. Mm-hmm. And I hated both those episodes. I thought they were corny. I thought they were forced. I thought it was very much Schoolhouse Rock. That first episode was very much Schoolhouse Rock. Like, it's like, hey, we're gonna teach the people, but we're gonna make it fun for the kids. And it's like, that's not where Blackish is. And they sort of forced it down folks' throats of these different aspects of the election process that was true. But they saw the episode about Juneteenth and how much we loved it. And then they tried to do it again and it didn't work well. But this was something, this episode of Grownish, it fit within the aesthetics of what I thought Grownish would be, which is a young Blackish. We're tackling Donald Trump. We're tackling sexual harassment. We're tackling rape in a nuanced way that still has those comedic elements, but we come forward either learning something new or we're discussing it on social media. We're discussing it on shows like this. And consistently, Grownish has not been that. It has been basically me eavesdropping on the conversation in the cab with Jenae and her sisters about what guy they talking to. That's what the show became. And I'm like, I can watch LeBron and the Lakers. I don't gotta watch this. Like, what the world? As a guy, I don't want to see this. I want to see good writing because I'm a writer. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I liked how it really gave me the flow of Blackish. But the second act, Ryan Destiny came back, and Ryan Destiny, ladies and gentlemen, I said that Ryan Destiny was Ryan Destiny in Grownish. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Destiny was Jillian. She was Jillian today. She was Jillian this episode. And she mentioned Spellman in one of those scenes. I'm like, I feel like they listened to us somehow. Like, she mentioned Spellman real quick, like, yeah, Spellman, the cat food was so much better. Like, and then Sky and Jazz sit down with it, and it's like, wow, like, so you mentioned Spellman. So at first, I'm like, she mentioned Spellman. But then I'm like, you know what? At this point, Deion Sanders is at Jackson State. You got HBC Pulse on the Shade Room. You have all these different media moments. We don't need for Ryan Destiny to mention Spellman on Freeform. We're good. We're good, love. You feel me? We're good, love. We don't need you to mention Spellman on Grownish. We need a Spellman episode. We need an HBCU episode. So I'm going to continue to say that. I'm going to thump the table on that. We need an HBCU episode. We don't need an HBCU name drop because that does nothing for us. And we need you to do a nuanced look at HBCUs, a nuanced look. Like, what's the difference between Cal U and Spelman or an HBCU? Like, have the different debate of, are HBCUs needed, and have us win the debate of HBCUs are needed. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, all education is good education. I need that episode, season 4. I need that ASAP, Kenya Barris and the writing staff. But here's what I thought about Anna, Jenae. I feel like Anna's going to ruin this relationship somehow. Now, I saw the ending with the church. They were in children's church. I understand that. But at the same time, I feel like Anna's going to ruin this relationship because she's going to be putting so much extra on the fact he's celibate. What do you think?
I can see that being a thing. I could definitely see that hindering the relationship. Most women, which I've noticed, I mean, as a woman, just what I've seen, most women tend to self-sabotage when it's a very good relationship, right? So he has everything else. He's a good dude. He's career strong. And it's always one thing that we can't get past. Like, and everybody has that one thing, whatever your one thing is, but that her one thing is sex. So I feel like in some way she probably will self-sabotage it by whatever, I don't know, something. Like, they probably will have an episode where they actually get drunk and have sex and he feels all bad and then they're going to get to an argument about it. I definitely feel like that's going to come one day. So I can see that probably being the end of the relationship, but hopefully if she's not as childish and things can continue to grow. Maybe they won't have that issue, but I foresee that being what will happen for sure.
And I think, listen, at this point, we're writing Grownish. Like, they need to pay us. Like, at this point.
They pay me. I need writing credit, sweetie. Like, what's up? Put me in the room, coach.
We gave them two different. We gave them an HBCU episode and basically a regret episode. Like, just at this point, season 4. Listen, we don't got to fly to LA. It's coronavirus. Like, we could just do it from home. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, we can get that Google Docs going real quick, like doing class. Get that Google Docs going. That group text, we can just send a script in through group text at this point. Because come on, we can help you out. But here's what I think, and this might be an unpopular opinion for all of our Yara Shahidi fans. I know you're a Yara Shahidi fan. But I think that I love Yara Shahidi, and I don't want her to lose a job. But I think they need to have Zoe take a break and just go be with, Joy Badass and Saweetie or whatever her character's name is. She's still Saweetie in Grownish. She's still Saweetie. But like, I think what they need to do is just let Yara do voiceovers and just get rid of her character.
Everybody else do the acting. You do the voiceovers when we keep it pushing. Everybody get their check.
Because her voiceovers were real good. Her voiceover, she was giving a strong narration. She like she was over there like Anna and Javier are going through some issues. Like, I'm like, go ahead, y'all. Like, y'all was doing her thing, but it's like, we just don't want Zoe.
And the man that she needs is God. Like, okay, with the deep narration, y'all rock. Okay, I see you. Trying to be out here like Morgan Freeman, girl. I see you. You trying to be great. Go ahead, Yara.
And then you heard a part where she didn't say God, she said God. Like, she said God. I'm like, man, y'all over here, man. She over in that voiceover bad, man. Man, y'all trying to get a radio show on iHeart at this point. I'm telling you, like, that's what she trying to do at this point. She trying, but we need her to occupy. So we need to occupy her time. She's a podcast. Like, she's a podcast where she tells King Bear, hey, listen, I got to take a break from Grownish because I can't. I got a podcast and I got to work on my podcast. Because at this point, every episode without her is so much better. But spoiler alert for those that don't want to know, just cut off and come back. She will be back next week because she's going to be helping Aaron with his situation. So she will be back, sadly. But we'll see what they do with her character. But without Zoe there, we learned a lot about every character, and sort of the responsibilities to carry the episode went to Sky and Jazz. Because we learned a lot more about them because we saw Sky and Jazz's dad in the episode where her social media got hacked, when she started posting those more provocative pictures. So she thought Doug did it, but her dad actually did it because her dad was embarrassed. We saw her dad, and her dad is a good dude. You know what I'm saying? We saw a productive black man there. And then you had Jillian meet the family. And what I thought instantly, I thought that we were going to see a homesick type of vibe where she was going to go talk to Sky and Jazz. Like, you know what? I mean, I like California. I like Cal and all that, but I miss Atlanta. Should I go back to Spelman? And I thought that was going to be a setup for the HBCU versus PWI episode. But they didn't take that turn, but they gave us something where we're going to see Jillian have an important part, especially later on in the season, maybe in season 4, because she's going to do a documentary on Sky and Jazz. And here's the part that irked me the most, and this goes into Act 3, but I want to go on and bring it up, is the fact that just like how Jenae said, they dumbed down Diggy, they made Anna childish, they made Sky and Jazz just complete idiots. When they were talking to Jillian. Oh, a documentary? She just says she's doing a documentary. What's it going to be about? She says it's about you. Like, Sky and Jazz are nuanced. They're great characters. All of a sudden, they're slow. They're stupid. Nah, like don't bring Zoe into an episode without Zoe. Because Zoe, all the worst aspects of Zoe, it's not Yara's fault. All the worst aspects of Zoe is from the writing because she has not grown. You can have Zoe still be sort of, like a little bit airheaded, a little bit self-centered, want to be in fashion, has her funny takes on things. But the problem is that she has not grown to any degree. And it just gets so annoying having her with characters that are developed. Aaron has grown. Aaron's not as childish. Aaron's more purpose. Vivek has sort of grown. Like, you have Doug's character that's grown. You have Nomi, she's pregnant. So every character has gone through a growth process except for Zoe, but she's not in this episode. But you stagnate Sky and Jazz, who are my favorite characters. They carried the episode, but at the same time, that scene wasn't needed because how are they giving Anna advice about how to deal with Javier? Then talking about documentary. What's the documentary? What's that? Well, how you spell that? Like, no, That's not who they are. Like they add literally like, oh, what's the documentary? Oh, is it going to be about me? Oh, for real? Oh, yeah. I think it's Venus Serena Williams. Oh, I coined that term. No, that was said. That was implied in the episodes before that the Pointer sisters are like Venus and Serena. I could have sworn. I think they said that. Didn't they say that before?
In like episode 1 when they introduced everybody and gave like a little background about them, they literally called them the Venus and Serena track. So like you didn't need to initiate that. Like, we know you're the Venus Serena track. Y'all are sisters. Y'all are fraternal twin sisters on the show, so it was unnecessary. Like, like in school they always said, like, show me it rather than tell me. You showed us. Like, you don't need to tell us again. We're not idiots. They think we're idiots.
And here's
show.
Yeah, here's what I think happened. I think that it's almost like class. We did the class example last week. I think that, and it's crazy because as I talk about it, my rating is going down. But my grade's going down for them. But like, I feel like they were like, you know what? We lost our homework. It's back in the dorm room, but like we can't go get it because the teacher won't let us back in. So we're gonna write something real quick. And it's oddly good because they're a good writer, but it's like you missing out context clues of what you wrote before. Because I think they forgot season 1. They forgot a lot of the different seasons of what they've written because it's like, what is this? This is not making a lot of sense right now. So I really just need them because I'm literally, as we're talking, guys, I was thinking 10 out of 10. I still think this is the best episode of Grownish, but as I'm talking about it, I'm like, I might take away a couple points. It's not gonna be a 10 out of 10. It's not gonna be a perfect score. We gonna see the score at the end, but it's like, I don't know. But I would say this: it is a battle for the MVP of the episode. For me, it's a battle between I keep saying Diggy. Doug. It's a battle between it is a battle between Doug, Sky, and Jazz. Because I felt that Diggy as the actor, those were funny lines he delivered. They were very funny. They just weren't Doug. But Sky and Jazz in general, I think that they carried the episode absent of Zoe, even though it was more focused on Aaron as well as Anna. But I think that the dopeness of how they wrote the characters being so brazen and speaking their mind, we gravitate toward those characters because they're speaking for us often. So I think that they carried the episode, but I think Aaron and his girlfriend did an amazing job. I think Anna and Javier did an amazing job. But I have to point to Sky and Jazz and also Doug being those characters that really brought things together and gave me my most favorite moment. So what characters do you think, or characters, are the MVP of this episode, Jenae?
Oh, for me, the MVP of the episode will be Doug and Javier. Doug, because Doug, I think this was the episode that Doug shined a little bit. He had his funny, witty moments, he was just kind of just carefree and let it go. He delivered his lines very well. And Diggy is a pretty decent actor. He kind of plays himself, but I feel like he was more himself in this episode, even though his character was dumbed down a bit, which is not really like him. I still feel like his delivery was amazing. So I would definitely say Doug would be my number 1 MVP. And then Javier, I feel like Javier brought a different depth to the show and a different perspective because typically we don't see celibacy within men, let alone Cuban men or anything of that nature. So to see it kind of from that male point of view and how it kind of plays into our age today, it was honestly it was different. And I liked Javier, and to see, I feel like prior to that he was just this guy Anna was working with, and now we got a little bit more depth and to know him a little bit more and more about his religion and why he is celibate, and he talked about religion and God and even questioned Anna's beliefs. And I feel like when you can make a character or a person question what they thought to be true, that's good writing and that's a good character. So I would say Javier and Doug would be the MVPs for this episode.
So let's pivot into Aaron's portion, which I think is very important because we're going to see a continuation of his storyline moving forward. Yes. So they had the conversation about the fact that Cal U is funded by private prisons and basically Cal U's money that they're paying to the school is funding private prisons. And that's what Aaron was upset about. And you saw a very interesting point about petitions versus real change. I personally, and this is something that I had to deal with in the spring when certain situations went down and folks wanted me to circulate a petition, have them sign this petition, and I didn't share it and folks were mad at me. I'm under the belief that because I used to watch Ned's Declassified, and I remember I watched the episode about petitions, and they had a healthy fruit snack in the vending machine. And then Vice President Craig, not, Vice Principal Craig's had a donuts that were in the vending machine that he switched out. You know, so essentially, like what they did was they rallied around, they signed a petition, and then they got the fruit snacks, the healthy fruit snacks back instead of those donuts. I honestly feel like oftentimes that's what petitions are for. Like petitions are for, hey, the donuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, like, you know, like I want donuts. Like, hey, like I want this thing to be on the menu. It typically is not for, hey, arrest this officer. Hey, we want structured change. Voting does that. You know what I'm saying? Walkouts do that. Because I think that petitions have a place within the general aspect of the discourse of change, but that's the appetizer for change. Because you see change from voting, you see change from policy, you see change from really doing sit-ins and pressuring and saying and using the media to tell your story. That's how you bend these colleges to your will. That's how you win the game of protesting, not from petitions. And you saw Aaron speak to that. So Jenae, what do you think about that aspect?
I think it almost reminded me of kind of SGA in a little bit, because there's a part in the episode when they said, well, we have to play the game. The school funds us, so we can't go against the school. And it's like, you know, sometimes you're in SGA, it's like you want to advocate for the students, but like you also kind of work for administration. So it's like, you know, you kind of have to play both sides in a little bit. And it kind of reminded me of what as Black people, we play the game and try to get ahead. So it's like, at what point in time can you play the game and make your own rules, start your own game, you know? So that's kind of the aspect that I thought of it from. And me being an Africana Studies minor, you even see in civil rights where people criticize Dr. Martin Luther King for his ways of nonviolent. They feel like nonviolent things weren't making change happen. And then Dr. King felt like with Malcolm X and the Black Panthers and other radical Black activists that, well, you being crazy, pissing off white people don't make the change better neither. So you see these different views on what can get change done. But at the end of the day, change needs to happen. So I definitely believe that more action things like policy and voting, those things get changed as well. But it's kind of hard when the system that you're trying to fight also funds you. So you kind of have to play the game in a sense. So I guess in conclusion, like, it's kind of hard, but I think that's when you need those kind of few people to kind of step away from that institutional organization and have to break away to get whatever needs to be done. Because, you know, you see that throughout history that people leave certain groups because they feel like it's not serving the true need of Black people.
So here's what I think within the aspect of what needs to be done. First of all, I have an easy fix for this. Like, I think I can fix this for them. I need for Aaron to transfer to an HBCU, because we don't have these issues at HBCUs. I don't think any private prisons fund any HBCUs, because I don't, or any HBCUs like fund private prisons, because I don't think we're the demographic like that they want to help out or want to do anything with, because we're not going to be in prison. So that's number one. I think you should go to an HBCU. But also, it's different ways to get around it, because isn't Cal U a public school? I could have sworn Cal U was a public institution.
It's public school. Public school, yeah.
So they're taxpayer funded. So yeah, tuition pays for a lot, but they're still taxpayer funded, and the allocation of those funds go to your state legislators and your local city legislators. And then on top of that, you think about it, this Cal U, this is real life. California's a Democratic city. Yeah, Governor Gavin Newsom is democratically ran. So you can make things happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like things can happen if you understand the system. You have to understand the system and change the game. Yeah, you got to play the game. But if you're playing the game, you got to peep what's going on to understand the system. And that's how you really effectively make change. And that's why the petition aspect doesn't work, because you're just basically placating the system. Because now what Aaron was doing, I think Aaron was too headstrong with it. But I would have loved to have seen an SGA president come in, maybe bring in another celebrity, maybe bring in like who would have been a good celebrity. Like, I don't know who would have been a good celebrity to bring in, but bring in another celebrity to be SGA president. You know what I'm saying? Or be vice president, like be like the Kamala Harris, the vice president Harris of the thing. That would have been dope to sort of give Aaron like that twist of, you know what, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a sit-in, we're going to do XYZ. It would have been cool just to have that aspect of it, because that's what SGA is. Yep. SGA fights for these issues. But once again, you see, like they don't get an F from me. We just stop talking. They don't get an F from me, Because my rating is changing. Because I'm like, why was there not an SGA person? Why wasn't there a senator? Why wasn't there someone, a director of internal affairs that has the ear of the president, of the provost, that can say, excuse me, what's going on? Oh my gosh. Let's move on to Act 3 before I give them a failing grade. Okay, so the episode for me took an amazing turn in Act 3. So tell us what happened with Javier and Anna going into Act 3 again.
So going into Act 3, they actually had the conversation, but before they had the conversation, they went to church. So she asked him, I just don't understand where you get your strength from to not have sex, you know? And he was like, well, I'll show you. So then they went to this church. It was not a traditional church at all. They were outside. The guy, he was a young dude. He had tattoos, regular shirt, jeans. And even Anna even said, is his chest supposed to be out? And then Anna came in this stuffy pink Madam President type of outfit and everything. And, you know, as she was listening to the word, she realized just how powerful it was. And she kind of saw like how he got that strength because of the message that she received from God. So then when they talk about, when they get in the car, they kind of talk about how, well, Anna wants a closer relationship with God, and that being around him has opened up her mind to that, which I think is probably the most mature thing about this whole episode. And she even talked about, her fears within celibacy, and he's like, well, I don't want to make you fear this, so if this is not for you, let's just go our separate ways, which is a very mature conversation, which is very needed, because this also goes to Randall's thoughts where he says communication is key. Communicate that. If you feel like, listen, I cannot not have sex with you, that's fine. We can just move on, be friends, and we don't have to worry about that. If you feel like there's something that you can do, then do that. It's not hard to communicate that. So I just really love effective communication. I love effective communication. It makes the heart warm. So in Act 3, they had that really good communication. They also talked about the documentary, and then Anna eventually agreed celibacy, which I thought was amazing, because it actually may give her some insight about herself. And that's pretty much what went on in Act 3. And it also reminds me of just young pastors, like at my church here in Tennessee. Like, our pastor is young. He went to TSU. He was SGA president. And it's like he still relates to us in our struggles, and he's still a positive Christian. So I love seeing that, I guess, not a new age of Christianity, but like what Christianity, like the members of Christianity look like, seeing that in the pulpit is amazing. So I loved Act 3. Is probably one of the more mature moments without the episode, and it was amazing.
And I like how they turned it, because like I said, it gave me a very much Blackish type of feel with how they turned it.
Yes.
And that was the part that I liked about it the most. And I like the fact that, once again, I say, there was growth for a character that wasn't Zoe. Zoe is the only character that consistently has not grown.
Yep.
She's the only person. Everybody has grown. Even Vivek has grown in a funny way, but like Vivek getting girls now. You see how that grow? First he was a lame, now he got a little girlfriend. He's grown. Right. Zoe's the only person that has not grown in the episode. That's why this episode was markedly better. So let's give our ratings. So for me, I was going to come on here and give it a 10 out of 10, and I was going to cite how I love how the episode was well written. It took me and turned me in places that I didn't expect. Of course, Aaron got locked up, and that's a continuation that we're going to see next week. And I thought that was amazing that happened, and we're going to see a lot of nuance from that storyline. But as we talked about it, where was SGA representation? So you tell me, Cal, you don't got no SGA. They don't got no record. That's PWI. But you telling me that, Cal, you don't got no SGA. You telling me that, Cal, you don't got no Greeks. You know what I'm saying? You tell me that there's no one there that can direct Aaron and the Black Student Union in a way of, let's do this. Because I just refuse to believe that these Black student unions, they just sit back eating potato salad. I don't believe that. I believe that there's someone there that's like, nah, we're going to make this happen. Because you remember when they did the backdoor pilot, when Zoe first went to Cal U and she met Aaron, the Black Student Union was way more radical. Once again, you are going against what you've already written. So how are they radical in that backdoor pilot? Now they just sitting back eating just potato salad and messed up chicken. Like what? Like that makes no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I need them to be more consistent with the characters that they create. You know, what's interesting is that I went back and watched the episode that was about consent. And they spoke about Anna and how she is when she gets drunk. Do you remember when she was backing it up on the provost?
Yeah.
Like, I think like Bert, calling him Bert.
Yeah.
Where is he at? Because I think I saw something that one of them, the actors, was too expensive or something. We had another show. Was that him? Because we haven't seen him since that throwback or since season 1.
I haven't seen him since that episode. So
I would have loved to have seen him come back this time, and maybe Dr. Charles Telfy could have done something, and that could have been a comedic moment, because we saw him get serious when Zoe was talking about dropping out. That's the first time we ever seen Charlie serious. He could have been serious, whereas, like, you know what, as a black man, I feel where you're coming from. You just got to play the game, Aaron. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could have been something where it would have been like a tension between Aaron and him, or they're arguing, and then we see the comedic side, then he gets serious. It's so many different ways they could have played it, but they didn't do that. They took the easy way out and took the comedic way out. So I'm not going to pile on. I think that this is the best episode that Grownish has ever done. Zoe not being in the episode was a big reason why, but it was some glaring issues that I need them to fix. So I will do this. Like, I will give them a 7 out of 10, but I'll give them an extra credit because they did an amazing job with this episode. So I will give them an 8.5 out of 10. They deserve a hand clap for that. They get an 8.5 out of 10 from me. And I need to see what this next episode is going to look like, because Zoe's coming back. They're going to definitely play on that relationship angle between Aaron and Zoe, but they're going to have Zoe sort of do PR for him and help him in crafting his message after he was arrested by the police in that next episode. How is Zoe going to be inserted in this? Are we going to see Anna and Javier? Are we going to see Jillian step up? Are Sky and Jazz going to be more nuanced? How do they feel about the arrest? That's what I really want to see. Because I wonder, with this great of an episode, even with its flaws, how do you follow this up? But Jenae, what do you think?
I definitely I'm gonna give this episode an 8 out of 10. I was gonna give it like a 9, but it's definitely gonna go back to an 8 just because I didn't like the way they dumbed down the characters. But I still think this is the best episode that Grownish has produced this season. This is definitely a top 5 episode probably in the entire series, and I think it was just beautiful. I just wish they wouldn't have added those Zoe elements in there as well. But besides that, it was an amazing episode. I don't think they'll be able to top this for next week. I don't. I think we're going to come in here and be all in our feelings and just upset and, ruin our opportunities to work with them. But this episode was really fantastic. So it definitely gets an 8 out of 10 from the Media Mogul.
So here's the thing. All I got to say is this.
Never been in the game, I'm celibate.
That's the only thing that I just got to say.